If we look at the compound angle formula for cosine and replace the b with a, just like as what we did with the sine, you're gonna get a plus a equals to cosine a minus sine a sine a. So that means the cosine double angle formula, cosine 2a, is equals to cosine squared a minus sine squared a. That's one of the formulas that you will see for cosine 2a. Now, because I already know that, sine squared theta, okay, plus cosine squared theta is equals to 1, and hence I can rewrite cosine a equals to 1 minus sine squared a. So if I take this and substitute it into the original one, I'm going to get another formula for cosine 2a. That is 1 minus sine squared a minus another sine squared a, which is 1 minus 2 sine squared a. Okay, that's the second double angle formula. Similarly, if we rearrange the Pythagorean identity and from here, we can also say that sine squared a is equals to 1 minus cosine squared a. Now, if I take this and substitute it into the second part of the formula, I'm going to get the last one of the cosine 2a identity, which is cosine squared a minus 1 minus negative cosine squared a, which is 2 cosine squared a minus 1. Now, all three of these identity work. Which one should you use to solve a problem depending on the question itself, okay? So you want to be smart and pick the right equation, the right identity to use for you to solve an equation. Now, on the right-hand side, let's take a look at how to apply something like this. Now, this one is a slightly harder question compared to the other kind of questions we look at. Let's go through A. The exact value of cosine of 45 degrees is 1 on root 2. If you're not sure, you should actually remember that. Okay, you should memorize that. For B, let's do B1 first. So cosine 22.5 degrees. I know I'm trying to show that cosine 22.5 degrees equals this. Now, the thing about 22.5 degrees is that if I double it, I'm going to get 45 degrees, which is the link to the first part of this equation. And also because it's an exact angle, so I do like that, okay? We want to get to there. So let theta equals to 22.5 degrees. That means 2 theta is 45 degrees. And I know that cosine of 2 theta, okay, cosine of 45 degrees is equals to, what's it called? 1 on pi theta, so 1 on root 2. So that's going to really help me later. So anyway, cosine 2 theta is equals to, I'm going to pick one of these three identities on the left-hand side. Okay, doesn't really matter which one you pick. I am going to pick, the cosine one, the last one. Okay, it actually does matter in this case because you don't know what is the sine. You should know, but because A told you what is the cosine, so let's deal with the one that's just got cosine inside and doesn't have the complication of sine. All right, so from here, then I can say that cosine 2 theta is equals to 2 cosine squared theta minus 1. What is cosine 2 theta? Cosine 2 theta in this case is cosine 45 degrees is equals to 2 times by cosine of 22.5 degrees squared minus 1. What is cosine of 45 degrees is 1 over root 2 is equals to 2 times by cosine of 22.5 degrees squared minus 1. Now this thing is what I'm looking for, right? I'm trying to figure out what this is. So I'm going to replace this with an x. That x equals to cosine of 22.5 degrees. It just helps to make the math a lot neater, all right? So then I have 1 over root 2 equals to 2x squared minus 1. That means if I move x to the other side, 1 on root 2 plus 1 equals to 2x squared. That means x squared is equals to 1 on 2 root 2 plus half. Now, looking at where you want to get to, I can see where the square root is going to come from, and but I do see that there is no fraction here. Well, there is a fraction, but there is no square root on a denominator of fraction. So let's rationalize. That means x squared, okay, is equals to 1 on root 2. Okay, root 2 on 4 plus 1 on 2. Okay, again, looking at where we want to get, I need half over here, and it's outside of square root. So I'm going to factorize 1/4. Okay, 1/4 multiplied by 1, my quarter multiplied by this, plus 2. Now I'm going to square root it. X equals to the square root of 1/4 of root 2 plus 2. And that's going to give you x is equals to half of the square root of 2 plus square root of 2, which is what they wanted you to get to over here. So that's the right hand side. Therefore, cosine of 22.5 degrees equals to half of square root of 2 plus root 2. Okay. Next part of the question is very similar. Why don't you guys have a try? If you don't know how to do this, leave a message for me and I'll do it for you.